Hello everybody, it's me, I'm First Class Grayson, and in this video, I want to help you guys with some tips about how to choose a good recruiter and how to deal with them. So recruiters, they are a necessary, arguably necessary part of the process. Um, if you want to get into the military, at some point you're going to have to talk with a recruiter. So let's get into how to deal with them. So one of the things that I recommend is to get a referral first if possible. In my situation, the recruiter that I worked with, I actually got their number from a friend of mine who already had gone into the Air Force. So that helped a lot. But that's not always possible. Obviously, if you have some friends who have already, gone into the military or they're actively doing it right now, going through the recruiting process, and they're having a good experience, then I would highly recommend that you get their recruiter that they are working with. But let's just say, that's just not the case. No problem. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to talk to the recruiter on the phone, or you might roll into the office. Either way is fine. But make sure, first of all, that you have a good vibe with them, because here's the other tip that's really important. You don't have to work with a particular recruiter. You don't have to work with the first recruiter that you talk to. You can actually switch. So like one of my friends, you know what he did? He called a couple of different recruiting offices, and then he actually went and physically visited. He went to like 3 different recruiting offices. And he didn't like sign any paperwork or anything. He just wanted to chat with different people, and he chatted with 4 different recruiters, and he ended up going with this one lady who he felt was like the most professional. So you can do that as well. Just obviously, if they ask, hey, have you talked with any other recruiters, just be upfront and honestly like, yeah, I want to see, who the person that, we click with each other the best. And there's nothing wrong with that. You could totally do that. So it's kind of like an interview, obviously the recruiter, think about it. The recruiter is going to be screening you and interviewing you to make sure that you meet the requirements of whatever branch you're going for. So obviously you're going to want to do the same thing. So another thing that I highly recommend is, especially if you're like under 21, when I was doing this whole process, I started in my mid 20s doing this whole process, talking to recruiters and stuff. So for me, I feel like it was a little easier because they knew, hey, this guy, he's not, he's not a teenager, he's, this is an adult. I'm telling you, if you are under 21, you might think it's lame, but, bring a parent with you, or let's say you're worried that your parents might get in the way. Bring like an older family member to your first meeting. The reason why is because, and this is not always the case, but obviously like any profession, you're going to have recruiters who are good at their job, who are expert. You're going to have recruiters who are mediocre or decent. And then you're going to have some recruiters who are just, they're just learning their job. That's fine. But, or you're going to have recruiters who, you're going to have a few, and this is not common, but there's this stereotype that recruiters lie. It's not, most recruiters, they're not going to lie to you. But they might not tell you the whole truth, or they might hold back certain details. I would tell you right now, bringing somebody who is older, especially if they're already in the military or if they're a retired veteran, really helps. In my case, I actually, especially when I swore in, I actually brought my father. And my father, he's retired Navy, and that's going to help give you some confidence, give you a little boost, help you feel supported. And it's also going to indicate to that recruiter, hey, this person has somebody on their side who knows what they're talking about, right? That really, really helps. So the reason why you especially want to do this if you are under 21 is because a lot of the times if you come in and you're alone, you're like 17, 18, 19, 20, the recruiter, they're going to know, or at least they're going to think, hey, this person, they're younger, they don't know as much about the world, it's going to be a little bit easier to say steer them in this direction, say to steer you into signing a contract for longer than you wanted. You know, let's say you had 4 years in mind and you go in there and all of a sudden you sign a 6-year contract, or you're agreeing to a job that maybe you didn't think about. So when you go into a recruiter's office, that's why I'm a big proponent doing your research, talking with other people who are in that military branch that you want to go into. And you really want to give them the indication that you are not in a rush, right? You are thinking things through, because the thing is, if and I'm not saying this is universal, but I've talked with a lot of people. Also, I actually have some friends who are recruiters as well, and I've kind of been able to see both sides of this. Like, if you come in there not sure about what you want to do, if you come in there, not confident in yourself, if you come into that office and you're kind of wishy-washy or you appear naive, the recruiter, they're going to try to steer you in a certain direction, and that direction that they're going to try to steer you towards might not be the best direction for you. So keep that in mind. So also, here's a huge difference, okay? Here's a huge thing. Active duty recruiters versus recruiters for the reserve and the guard. So here's the thing you got to understand. And this is a big thing that I kind of learned late in the game, but I want to share it with you. When it comes to active duty recruiters, they're going to have a different relationship with you than guard and reserve. And here's why. For active duty, right, they are recruiting for the whole branch. Let's say you're wanting to go Army and you're dealing with an Army recruiter. They are recruiting for all of the Army active duty. So you could end up anywhere and you are never going to see them again, okay? Soon as you swear in, soon as you sign that paperwork, soon as you get on that bus, they're going to clean their hands of you, right? Metaphorically speaking. Listen, you can go into a recruiter's office. A lot of them, they're very clever. They've got all of these letters. They've got pictures of people who have wrote to them. That's beautiful. That's great. But if you're dealing with an active duty recruiter, remember, you're never going to see them again, ever. Because you're going to be, the chance of you being in the same state as they are, nah, it's impossible. You're going to go wherever the active duty Army, Coast Guard, Air Force, Marines, you're going to go wherever they need you, okay? So that's that. The difference with the Guard and Reserves is because the Guard and Reserves, they recruit for the specific particular base, okay? So guess what? You're going to see that active duty or reserve recruiter again because you're going to be on the same base as them. That's the difference. So from the experiences of my friends and people that I know, oftentimes they feel that they're going to get more transparency, more of an open dialogue, and more of the facts and details up front from recruiters who are in the Guard or the Reserve, because they're going to see you. They're going to see you. And if you're not happy, you'll be able to walk right back into their office and be like, hey, what's the deal? So that is why, with the Guard and the Reserve, those recruiters are more connected to the local community where that base is. A lot of times they are from that community. So a lot of the times there's a bit more transparency. Like I said, most recruiters are good people. They have a job to do. They have a quota to fill. And yes, there is a lot of pressure on them to do that. But like I said, with active duty, it's not that they're directly lying to you, but it's more just the fact that with those recruiters, there's more of an incentive to tell you what you want to hear so that you sign that paperwork, they meet their quota. And like I said, imagine the difference. Imagine they're going to be more transparent with you, more open and upfront with you about stuff if they know that once you get back from boot camp and tech school, once you get back from your training, they're going to see you every drill. Or maybe, if you go like for the Guard and Reserve, if you go full time with them, you go AGR or whatever, they might be seeing you every day. So, whereas, like I said, with active duty, you're going to be gone and you're never going to see that recruiter again, right? So that's why with active duty recruiters, just be very, very careful. Be careful with any recruiter. So here are my top tips, as a summary. Remember, if you don't feel comfortable working with a particular recruiter, you can switch recruiters. You can ask to work with somebody different. Just ask to speak to the supervisor. If there are multiple offices, recruiting offices around where you live, call. For me, I drove an extra 45 minutes to work with a recruiter that I felt comfortable with. That was very important for me, okay? But remember, most of these recruiting offices, they'll have at least 3 to 4 recruiters. Listen, don't feel embarrassed. If you don't feel comfortable working with a particular recruiter, be honest. You don't have to be rude, but you can just say to the supervisor, hey, I would just prefer to work with somebody else. I just want to make sure the fit is good. Or you can call multiple different offices, meet with a couple different recruiters, and see who you like. And as you know, in my other videos, I've really advocated talk to recruiters from different branches as well. Do your research, be proactive. You want to feel comfortable moving forward. So remember, you can switch recruiters if you want, all right? Nothing wrong with that. They're interviewing you, you're gonna interview them, make sure they're a good fit. With active duty versus guard and reserve recruiters, just know that when it comes to guard and reserve recruiters, usually they tend to be a bit more transparent and upfront, because guess what? You go to boot camp, you go to your training for your job, and then you come right back and serve right back at that base. Whereas with active duty, you're gonna get sent anywhere. You're probably never gonna see that recruiter again. So there's more of an incentive for the guard and reserve recruiters to be a bit more upfront and a bit more transparent about things. Like I said, most recruiters, technically, they are not allowed to lie, but they often will paint a rosier picture than what the reality might actually be, or they might not be as forthright as upfront with certain details, because it is a sales job. It's a sales job that they're doing, right? So there's that. Get a referral if possible for the recruiter you're working with, if possible. And take a military, if you have someone in the military, or someone retired, take them with you, especially to that first appointment, and also again to when you're swearing in, if possible. Or especially if you're 21 and under, just be very cautious. Try to take a parent with you. If you don't really get along with your parents, try to take somebody like older sibling, somebody with you, at least to that first initial recruiting appointment, because that indicates that you're getting information, you've got backup, you've got perspective from somebody who's older. The reason why is because, like I said, if you walk in there and you're 17, 18, 19, and you seem like you're kind of lost, you don't seem as confident, that recruiter naturally is going to take you, and they're going to, like I said, try to steer you in a certain direction, and that direction might not be the best fit for you. So anyway, please, if you have questions, comment below, like and share this video. It really helps me out, helps me know that I'm doing a good job making good content for you guys. So good luck in your journey with these recruiters. Like I said, don't rush, do your research. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.